wasn't too bad. Well, welcome, folks. We're trying to get a little more local here after spanning the globe multiple times around. And would love to have you folks speak up if you have any experience in any of these national parks in Maryland, Virginia, and the nation's capital. So before I jump in, does anybody have any like really fond memories of any of our local national parks before I get into it?
I do, Lou.
Where's that?
Brenda.
Hey,
I,
Brenda.
I remember going, we went to Shenandoah Park and we were in a little Volkswagen. And
Oh,
my daughter, she was about 4 or 5, and we was going around the mountain, and it seemed like the edge was right so close. I was terrified. I couldn't
oh,
wait to
wow.
get off that mountain. So, yeah, that was my harrowing experience with the park, with the Shenandoah Park.
Oh, great memory, Brenda.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any memories? Any thoughts? No? Okay. Well, let's jump into it. Maybe this will spur your recollection a little bit. So we'll start off a little bit about the National Park Service, since this is National Park Month. About time we said, hey, what's this all about? And then we'll look at the Maryland and Virginia National Parks, a little bit about the history and culture. And then we'll jump into trivia. And, we got a lot, I think most of our national monuments are run by the National Park Service. So we see them all the time here in DC, especially on the National Mall, which I know is run by the National Park Service. So without further ado, let's get into it. What is the National Park Service? Well, let's look at this a little bit. Here we go. Oh my gosh. I think you'd think I would learn by now, right? I'm almost sure when I shared, I didn't,
It's okay, Lou. Yeah, just
yeah,
you're
let's stop
good.
the sharing, and I'm going to share again. And this time, I'm going to
I
share
did
the
that the other
sound.
day, Lou. So we all do it sometimes. So it's okay.
I think I've done it every single time for the last 2 years. Okay, here we go. Oh, where is that? That looks familiar. Here we go.
From the Grand Canyon to Mount Rushmore to the Blue Ridge Mountains. The National Park Service, it's the government agency responsible for maintaining America's abundance of natural and cultural wonders. By the mid-1800s, American settlers were moving west and discovering new landscapes as they laid claims to lands in Texas, California, New Mexico, and Arizona. Many Americans were enamored with the natural beauty of the Trans-Mississippi West, which was so different from the East Coast and Europe. Some enterprising travelers realized these natural sites would make good spots for tourism and recreation. In 1855, a British man named James Hutchings, along with 2 Indian guides, visited the Yosemite Valley and began to write articles promoting California's scenic wonders. Almost overnight, Yosemite became a destination. It was so popular that President Abraham Lincoln put it under protection during the Civil War. But Yosemite was not the first national park. In 1872, President Ulysses S. Grant declared Yellowstone the first ever national park. It wasn't until 1890 that John Muir, a Scottish-American naturalist, successfully convinced Congress to protect the Yosemite area. Muir would continue to have a major influence on the creation and preservation of new parks, along with President Theodore Roosevelt. Between 1901 and 1909, President Teddy Roosevelt, who believed that experiencing nature was instrumental in building American character, created 5 new parks, including Yosemite, and claimed over 100 million acres of national forest. He also signed the 1906 Antiquities Act, which gave the President of the United States authority to create national monuments from federal lands. National parks were springing up all over the country. But it wasn't until 1916 that President Woodrow Wilson signed an act to establish a National Park Service run by the federal government. The Organic Act gathered the 14 national parks and 21 national monuments into a federal system. Congress declared the fundamental purpose of the national park system: to conserve the scenery and the natural and historic objects and the wildlife therein, and to provide for the enjoyment of the same in such manner and by such means as will leave them unimpaired for the enjoyment of future generations. Over the next 2 decades, Congress expanded the national park system, adding the Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon, Acadia, the Great Smoky Mountains, and Shenandoah to the list of national parks. Throughout the 20th century, the service continued to expand, thanks to some important pieces of legislation. The Historic Sites Act of 1935 allowed the government to give historic properties protected status. The Wilderness Act of 1965 created a policy of securing wilderness areas for the benefit of the American people. In 1990, the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act required museums, including those in the national parks, to return excavated remains to their cultural descendants. By its 100th anniversary in 2016, the National Park Service employed more than 20,000 people and upwards of 300,000 volunteers, presiding over more than 400 parks, monuments, and other sites. Today, the National Park Service still works with communities across America, preserving nature, local history, and providing the public with places to explore, learn, and reflect.
I thought that was really good. Any thoughts about that? Y'all learn anything new?
For me, I mean everything. It's amazing. Just from what a few folks did and how it came to be today.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, a little aside from me, I did a lot of work very closely with the national parks in Washington State. I was part of this, WildTech was part of the centennial celebration of Mount Rainier National Park in 1999. It was founded in 1899. We were actually the premier event for the centennial celebration. We brought 100 at-risk youth from 33 school districts on backpacking trips around the park. And that program became the Wilderness Technology Alliance. It was run by my company I owned back then, and that became WildTech. And we got an invitation from President Clinton to attend the Computer World Honor Awards, and that program was inducted in the Smithsonian Institution. You could actually read about it online. But that was the starting of WildTech. So our roots really began with the National Park Service.
Oh, wow, Luke, thank you so much for that. Again, you guys don't have to raise your hands. You could just unmute and share if you have anything to share.
Well, I was going to say that unfortunately, those personnel that you showed, Lou, many of them are being fired under the new government shutdown that's going on. I just heard that on the news last night that the Park Service and national parks are going to be greatly impacted and making them less safe to visit and cutting back severely on personnel.
Yeah, that's why we had our session. Literally our next video, we're gonna deep dive into that. But yes, it's quite sad. So that's what inspired the session today.
Yeah, Alex has a whole video all about that. So you great comment. Any other thoughts, comments? Do you see the Washington Monument in the video? It's neat to know there's so many national park sites in our own city. All right, well, let's get the show on the road, folks. So here we are at Yellowstone. Boy, this sounds familiar. Let's see what we got going here.
The U.S. Forest and National Park Services were hit with major staffing cuts over the weekend. The administration fired about 3,400 recent or probationary hires with the U.S. Forest Service, meaning they're within the first year or two of employment. That's about 10% of its workforce. About 1,000 or 5% of National Park Service employees have also been let go. Popular tourist sites such as the Appalachian Trail, Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Sequoia National Forest have been affected. The National Parks Conservation Association, a nonpartisan advocacy group, says the cuts will, quote, leave parks understaffed, facing tough questions about operating hours, public safety, and resource protection. Let's bring in Ashley Harrell. She's the National Parks Bureau Chief at SF Gate. She recently wrote an article about how these staff cuts have been impacting Yosemite specifically, with really a pretty startling headline there, talking about the chaos that's currently unfolding. Ashley, great article. Thank you for being here. Sources tell you 4% of Yosemite's staff, all probationary, have been terminated. Since your article came out last week, what positions are impacted?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I think first it's important to note that national parks are perpetually underfunded and understaffed, and Yosemite's no exception. The park has been operating at less than full staffing for years and only has about 1,200 employees to begin with. So typically in the spring and summer, when park visitation skyrockets, Yosemite brings in 350 to 400 employees to maintain order and take care of the parks and take care of the visitors. And that hiring process starts 6 months in advance. So this year, as those people were being hired, Trump's hiring freeze triggered multiple rounds of seasonal job offers being rescinded at Yosemite and across the national park system. And that affected everyone from maintenance workers to interpretive rangers to law enforcement rangers to fee technicians. Those are the people who collect your money at the gate.
So Ashley,
And
you write that as many as 20,000 visitors a day during peak season go to Yosemite. If I bring my family, what might I experience on my vacation this year that might be different from past years? Am I waiting in the car longer to get in? Am I walking a few extra miles to throw something away?
Sure, yeah. So basically, we're looking at a spring and summer where tens of thousands of people are showing up to the park each day, waiting 3 or 4 hours to get in,
Wow.
then getting stuck in traffic once they're inside, not finding places to park. And, the reservation system that is normally in place during the summertime is possibly not coming back this year.
Wow.
That's been very effective in managing crowds and protecting park resources. And right now we're waiting on the Trump administration to say whether it's going to happen, but insiders are saying it's unlikely.
All right, Ashley Harrell, we'll be following your reporting and hope to have you back. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Great. Any comments on that, folks? Boy, that's a timely video based on the comments we just got. It is amazing how crowded the parks are. When we were at Mount Rainier 25 years ago in 1999, you could get into the park pretty much any time. I lived in Seattle for almost 20 years, and my daughter went back there because it's where she went to school, and she had to wait in line. She needed reservations to get in. She waited in line for like 3 hours just to get in the park. Once she was in the park, it was like a 20-mile drive through the park, which was bumper to bumper the entire 20 miles. They could never get out of the car because there was no place to park anywhere. So it's amazing how overrun especially the big parks, the ones that attract visitors like Rainier, like Yellowstone, like Yosemite, especially like Rainier and Yosemite, because there's only a couple of specific areas where people go. You look at Yellowstone and there's hundreds of miles of places where people can go. So it's really, really getting super overcrowded. I haven't been to Shenandoah recently. I wouldn't be surprised if it's getting pretty packed up there too. Anybody have any stories about how crowded the parks are these days?
Just those numbers for Yellowstone, 325 million or annual, like just so many people. It's so sad that they're not being as supported as they should be.
Yeah.
Someone said they were down the Shenandoah area and they couldn't even get in the park over the weekend.
Isn't that crazy?
This is stupid. Well, we got stupid people running the country, so what can I say?
You drive that far. It's not like you're driving to the corner store. I mean, you're driving hundreds of miles, and then you can't get in. All right. Well, let's go to the next one.
The U.S. Forest and National Park Services were hit with.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so how do you donate to the Park Service? Let's find out. Well, this is a National Park Service's site. As a federal government agency, I don't believe they accept donations, but they work with organizations that do. So the generosity of our citizens, you can give to a favorite national park, to a friends group, through the National Park Foundation, or provide general support for the National Park Service through national programs. So when I was at Rainier, we actually I was part of a steering committee that formed the National Park Service organization for the state of Washington, which is called the the Washington's National Park Fund, and that became the nonprofit that received public donations for the parks. We use that money to build trails. They actually funded one of our programs there for 3 years, and so it's you got to align yourself. There's also the biggest one is the National Park Foundation. I don't know if anybody's ever given to them. I'm on their mailing list, so they mail me donation requests all the time. So if you have a favorite park, you got to find their friends organization, because the federal government doesn't accept donations. And so just be aware of that if you have a favorite park.
Definitely
right.
recommend the National Park Foundation.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's continue on. Okay, I think I can continue on. Maybe I'm on the wrong page here. Yep, I am. All right, well, now let's home in on our parks in our local area here. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Who has been to Harper's Ferry? What a treasure that place is.
Oh, yes.
Raise your hand if you've been there.
Well, in Zoom, if you've been to Harper's Ferry, please raise your hand in Zoom. I haven't been to any of these on our list today, so it's I learned a lot.
Harper's Ferry is an absolute must go. When I have people come out of town, we go to Harper's Ferry, and what I do is we park our bike along the C&O Canal, and we ride the canal on our bikes for like 10 miles up to the trestle, the railroad trestle. We park our bikes in a bike rack, we cross the trestle, and bam, we're in Harper's Ferry. Harper's Ferry is incredible.
You're located in Harper's Ferry National Historical Park. 3 states come together here: Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia. We also have 2 rivers that join here, the Potomac River and the Shenandoah River. We're not a one person, one event, one day type of site. We've got hundreds of years of history here. But let me just throw some names out who came here and literally changed who we are, changed us as a nation, coming here, doing things at Harper's Ferry that ultimately changed our lives today. John Brown, revolutionary, comes here to commence a war to end slavery. Robert E. Lee, before the Civil War, United States Army, Lieutenant Colonel, he captures John Brown, ends his attack here at Harper's Ferry. Abraham Lincoln, he comes here in the midst of war to review troops, thousands of them, 60,000 soldiers here in 1862, right after the Battle of Antietam. America at war. Harper's Ferry was at the crucible of that war. Weapons, George Washington. Washington establishes a United States Armory and Arsenal here so that we can defend ourselves, defend our nation. And so even during Washington's time as presidency, he creates the Harper's Ferry Armory and Arsenal. We make rifles and muskets and pistols from the time of Thomas Jefferson to the time of Abraham Lincoln. And then finally, we are part of the Civil Rights Movement. Now, not the Martin Luther King Civil Rights Movement in the 1950s and 1960s, but 150 years previous to Dr. King. Yes, the first civil rights movement in this country, led by W.E.B. Du Bois. He comes here in 1906 with a group of African American leaders and what was known as the Niagara Movement. They meet here. Dr. Du Bois issues a proclamation with respect to civil rights, a declaration declaring that all Americans should have equal rights in 1906. And ultimately, this becomes the foundation of the modern day NAACP. So we have so many people, so many leaders, so many events that help change America's fabric and America's destiny, all converging here like the Potomac and Shenandoah Rivers do at Harper's Ferry.
Wow. Any thoughts or comments on that, folks? Oh,
I remember going there, taking the kids from school. And of course, that's been a while ago. But the last time I think I was down at Harper's Ferry, it's been at least, I guess, 15 years. And the last time I was there, they were having some kind of dedication or some kind of something that was going on. And but they had somebody speaking on Brown, and that was an interesting lecture. And I didn't realize that they actually did a lecture in the park.
Oh, yeah, I think they call those interpreters, and yeah, that's a good point. And there's a lot of interpretation that goes on at Harper's Ferry. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I've heard people speak, but this was actually like, I mean, a history lesson.
Oh yeah, this video was amazing.
Yeah, so that was really, really very interesting.
Yeah.
Again, you can unmute and share. You don't have to raise your hand for our lunch club.
Well, thank you, Anne. Great comments. Wouldn't it be nice if we took a field trip out there sometime, all of us?
I was thinking, I mean, I've heard of Du Bois, but I didn't realize how instrumental he was, and even before Martin Luther King. So that was interesting to me in the history there at Harper's Ferry.
Yeah, and it founding the NAACP, or at least the beginning of it. Never knew that.
Amazing. It was just NAACP the other day as well.
All right, let's go to the next one, folks. Oh, Country Road, Shenandoah. Hey, Brenda, here we go. It's time to reminisce.
In the early 1800s, a folk song became known throughout the United States. Its lyrics go as follows. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you and hear your rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you. We were bound away across the wide Missouri. Today, the song reminds us of a time when log cabins were plentiful, seasons came and went in harmony, and the bonds of family were strong within the hearts of many. There are few places today that can bear those same qualities that the song brings up, but one of those remaining places is located in Virginia, along a misty mountain range and a generations-old river. This is the story of Shenandoah National Park. The forests of Shenandoah are alive with flora and fauna, and visitors to the park can still find some of the creatures that have inhabited this sacred valley for thousands of years.
Laura, you
Maple,
saying something
birch,
because
ash,
of your
and
eye
poplar
can't
trees
hear
reach
you.
for the skies where hawks and
No,
vultures
no, I'm
soar
not saying
overhead.
anything.
The rivers are home to trout, bass, bluegill, and sunfish,
Can you hear the
who serve as
video?
a prize for avid fishers in the park. And then, of course, there are the mammals. Deer tiptoe through the leafy understories. Foxes and coyotes whisk among the forested hills. And the most elusive of all the animals, the black bear, hides away in the depths of the Virginian wilderness. All these animals coexist in a cycle of predator and prey that has been around since the first of many American Indian tribes stepped foot onto the sacred Appalachian Highlands. Tribes like the Iroquois, Cherokees, and Delawares, who are also known as Lenape, made a living learning from the land and coming into conflicts and treaties with neighboring tribes. It was the American Indians that gave Shenandoah its name, with experts interpreting the word as Spruce River, but another translation calls it the Clear Daughter of the Stars, the name given to an ancient lake of legend that reflected the many stars of the valley, but one day was drained into the present-day Shenandoah River. The legends about the river and its surroundings would keep the culture of the valley alive for many centuries. Then, starting in the 16th century, settlers from Europe began arriving in the Americas. The main group in the Shenandoah Valley at the time, the Iroquois, has to make a series of difficult decisions: flee the oncoming settlers, or stand and protect their lands. After a series of conflicts in the 1600s, two treaties, the Treaty of Albany and the Lancaster Treaty, secure a temporary peace between the warriors of the tribe and the settlers wanting to move west. After the United States gains independence in 1776, settlers start expanding into the Ohio River Valley, and thus Shenandoah comes under a series of changes in the 19th century brought on by Europeans. The Indians, outnumbered and outgunned, are forced to give up their land, much to their annoyance and dismay. In their place are farmers, families trying to make a life out of only the resources around them, but in their view, through a more civilized method than those of the natives. And then, civil war. Shots ring out across the misty hills, signaling the intense conflict of a nation divided. Even after the war concludes, the natural wonder of Shenandoah comes under a different type of assault. one on its resources. Trees are cut down en masse, and mining operations boom. It would not be until the 20th century when groups like the CCC helped to preserve and protect the beautiful features at Shenandoah, constructing signs to help visitors into the area to understand the natural processes at the park, and only building man-made structures in the necessary places. In the midst of the Great Depression in December 1935, Franklin Roosevelt signs into law a bill that would establish Shenandoah National Park, which soon becomes a beloved national park that is a lot easier to access for Americans living in the East than the isolated paradises of Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Rocky Mountains and Sierra Nevada mountains halfway across the country. Today, Shenandoah offers a lot to do, starting from any of its 3 visitor centers to traveling the 105-mile Skyline Drive, which runs the length of the park and gives many opportunities to see the rolling hills and valleys of Shenandoah. If you're interested in finding out the road conditions, you can call 540-999-3500 for the latest information to see if the road is blocked by snow or ice in the winter. For those who prefer to exit their car and jump headfirst into the wilderness, many trails crisscross the park, from short day hikes to the infamous Appalachian Trail. Or, for those who prefer to stay up late, Shenandoah is a great place for watching meteor showers or stargazing. It's really up to you to decide how to make the best of a visit to this truly special national park. America's national parks represent many things: an attempt to save the planet we love, a way to educate the general public about the natural world, and, occasionally, an eye-opening experience for someone which inspires them to do great things. We opened this video with a classic folk song, but the beauty of the Appalachian Forest live on in contemporary music as well. Here's some lyrics that describe this mystic, magical place. You may have heard them. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. John Denver.
All right. Well, folks. Well, let's see if we can stop that. All right. There we are, Shenandoah. Brenda, any memories? They didn't have the windy road, too much of it.
No, they didn't show those, but Lou, that's been close to 50 years ago that I went there. So I just remember being in the car and we were just so close to the edge, and like you could look out the window and see it. It was scary. It was really scary.
I can only imagine. All right. Well, here, I'll continue on to the next one. Oh, Assateague. Anybody been there? Eastern Shore? We got the horses. Anybody ever been there?
No.
Yeah. Anybody been to Ocean City?
Yeah,
Ocean City?
I've been there. Is that where the wild horses be running?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just south of the inlet across Ocean City. That's Assateague Island.
yeah.
Okay.
So let's check out these horses. Here we go.
We're currently at Old Ferry Landing in Assateague Island National Seashore. It's called Old Ferry Landing because before we had a bridge, this is where the ferry would bring the vehicles and the visitors to and drop them off. So I grew up camping here with my family. I wanted to keep coming back, and so this was my dream job, to get to come back to Assateague Island.
No, we not getting
Assateague
any
Island
pictures of
National
the
Seashore
movie.
is unique in that there's so many different things to see. We've
I'm
got
not seeing
4
the
different
movie,
main
Lou.
habitats: marsh, forest, dunes, and the beach. And especially the marsh here is pretty rare to find them untouched
Glorious
from
screen,
human development
Diane.
and city sprawl. So
I
this is one of
did.
the last longest undeveloped stretches
okay,
of coastline
I
on the
got
East
it.
Coast. That's pretty special.
Okay. It's gone again.
This park is well known for the wild horses that live here. Been here for over 300
I
years.
can't see
I like to
them.
point out to people that that's not all that's here. There's fishing, crabbing, kayaking, bicycling, camping. Lauren and Larita are crabbing with us today. It's one of our ranger-guided programs for visitors to the island. It is a historic use of the island as well, which is why we encourage people to learn about it and engage in it.
Hey, hi, Nikki.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Laurita.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Lauren. Nice to meet you too. Are you ready to try crabbing?
Yes.
Yes, I'm so excited. So these are decomposers in our ecosystem. They are scurrying around on the bottom of the bay in the marsh looking for dead plants, dead animals. And in doing that, they're actually cleaning up our marsh. So they are a very important part.
Job
Yes.
to do.
This bait will sink down to the marsh floor. Once you feel the tugging, you want to lift the bait towards the surface of the water. You're more than welcome to try holding it.
No, thank you.
I've had my fair share of snips
Yes,
of crab
your
before.
first introduction to crabs was like,
In that case, I do have these.
Perfect. Yeah.
If you need help, call me over. I have not been bit by a crab yet, but hopefully that
Today won't
streak
be the day.
continues.
Yeah, it's not the day.
So if you catch one today, we would like to keep it and put it in our aquarium at the visitor center.
I love that. We can come back and visit our crab. I know.
So who would like the bait?
I will take the bait.
And the net to you.
Net to me. I'm ready. I'm ready for my crabbies.
Does this look good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this a lucky spot?
I hope so. We'll find out.
Now we wait.
And now we wait.
Okay, should we sing some songs?
We could sing some. Oh, look at those pretty birds over there, too. Do you feel anything yet?
No.
I feel like it's been 6 hours, but it's been, what, 6 minutes?
It's been 3 minutes.
Oh, come on.
Here, crabby, crabby. Here,
Feel
crabby,
nothing,
crabby.
huh?
I can't tell. She said the tugging is very faint.
Look! Hello there.
Hello, crabby crab.
No, I don't want to take him out. I'll hold this. Oh, do we want to call Nikki over?
Nikki, can you help?
See the swimmer fins right here?
Yes.
They're wiggling.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Up a
With your
little
fingers.
more.
There you go.
Is he gonna?
Okay.
Oh, no.
I'm letting go.
Oh, he's
Oh,
not.
wow. 1, 2, and 3.
We got a crab.
Look!
Mr. Krabs, as you can see, he's a male. He has a monument on his underside.
Yes.
We've had him out of the water for a while,
So it's got to go back down.
But that was so cool.
Bye, Mr. Crab.
Good job, guys.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Hi.
Hi.
Island Sarah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Larita.
I'm Lauren.
Welcome. Welcome to Assateague.
Thank you for having us.
So are we on the way to see a bunch of horses now?
Yeah, we're gonna go see if we can find any. We've already had a few that we've seen today. And so we're heading to a location that we've heard that they might be at this time.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like we might have some horses out here on this trail. So if you guys wanna go ahead and get out, we'll go ahead and take a look and see if we can find them.
All right.
Let's go.
Awesome.
It looks like you guys might be in for a treat. Looks like we might have some horses here on the beach.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Is it possible to get a little closer?
Yeah, let's head up just a little bit closer,
Okay.
but when we still want to keep that distance.
Okay.
This is one of the few places that you can see wild horses on the East Coast. They have been on this island for upwards of 300 years. And so we are trying to keep those natural characteristics that we'd expect to see in wild horses. And we have to do that by keeping our distance. And they can harm you or can harm themselves when you're getting too close to them. There are two main theories about how they ended up here on the island. One of these is the more famous story that it was a Spanish galleon that sunk off the coast of Assateague and that the horses that were on board swam to shore, and we're now looking at the descendants of those horses. The National Park Service chooses to go with the theory that these horses are the remnants of horses that were put on the island as well as other livestock in the 1700s to avoid taxation. And so the easiest way to get around that is to put them on a naturally fenced-in area, Barrier Island. We see upwards of 2 million visitors a year in the Maryland district. So we can't guarantee that you're gonna see horses when you visit Assateague Island, but your chances are pretty high if you're visiting in the summer months. And the more you drive around and explore, the better your chances of seeing them are.
Oh, they're so pretty.
They're beautiful.
And they're so unbothered. That's what kills me.
So if you see that white on them, that means they're a pinto. That's their
Okay.
coloration. So looking at what we know that she's a female and
Yeah.
that she's a pinto,
Okay.
we can kind of start looking at the different designs that we have.
Guys, I'm gonna stop it there unless you all are super into horses, because I think we have another video or two to share. Any comments about Assateague from anybody?
I just love going there, seeing the horses and seeing the outcome, what's going on. And the kids loved going. I took the kids on a field trip again. I'm a field trip teacher.
Oh, nice, nice. All right, any other comments? Nice. I like swimming in Assateague instead of Ocean City because there's no crowds, the water's clean. It's almost like being at the Outer Banks of North Carolina. The water is like a blue, not the brown, because it's not all churned up.
And
Oh.
that crabbing with the one with the little net and that's not what I'm used to. I'm used to going wading out and pulling the pots in and having a bunch of crabs in there.
Yeah, what's with that, right? I've never seen that before.
I've never well, I've seen it there, but that's not what we do in Louisiana and Mississippi. We have pots. We go out on the boat and put the pots down and then pull them in.
In Washington State, I still have one of the traps. It's got some edges that you pull it up and it scoops them all up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was that's time consuming, one crab at a time though, you know?
Yeah, that would drive me crazy.
Again, you all can share. You don't have to raise your hand for our lunch club. Any other last thoughts?
Oh, okay.
All right, well, guess where this place is?
I have a question in reference.
Go. Sorry, go ahead.
I have a question. Do you have to reserve to go to that park? Because
No.
I find that very interesting that I would love to take my grandkids to.
Absolutely not. That park is pretty empty.
Okay.
Always just do your research, Google and see what's going on, you know, but it seems pretty out there and looks nice.
Okay, thank you.
And you combine it with a trip to Ocean City. So you got the city side and then you got the nature side.
Okay.
And they're like right across, you know, they're literally like 100 yards apart. It's just right across the inlet.
I've been to Ocean City, but I never knew that park was there.
Yeah, it's across the inlet.
You get, but to get to it, it's like 10 miles. You know, you got to drive to the bridge. But it's literally 100 yards away from Ocean City downtown.
Okay, 100 yards. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now guys, guess where this is? I'm not going to tell you. Where is this place right here?
It tells you right up at the top.
Yeah, okay.
Canal.
Yeah, but what city, what district, what area is
It's
this
in Georgetown.
Georgetown, right.
Mm-hmm.
So Georgetown became Georgetown partly because of this canal. And
Right.
you know, this is the foundation of Georgetown. Why this big old city grew the way it did is because of this canal. So let's learn about that.
Long before highways and even before the railroads, canals helped the American economy grow. That time has long passed. But there's a new glimpse into what life was like on these waterways. After a massive restoration, Washington, D.C.'s C&O Canal is once again welcoming boatloads of visitors for a lesson on this important chapter of American history.
Georgetown, canal boats again!
As this vessel takes visitors on a time-honored expedition, squeezing under low bridges and through narrow walls, its 30,000 pounds are guided entirely by hand.
This boat is a flat bottom, has no keel, so it just maneuvers like a living room couch.
Franklin Santa Croce captains today's trip on the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal in Washington, D.C.
So is it okay that we're bumping into things?
Yes, it's a canal boat. It's designed to bump into things.
Santa Croce moves the boat much the same way his predecessors did 2 centuries ago, when this passage revolutionized trade. The canal locks boats between heavy gates before deckhands change the water level, floating the boat from one lock to the next and allowing barges to move through elevations.
All right, let's go.
As it passes the historic Georgetown neighborhood, the boat retraces a chapter of American history defined by both the promise of westward expansion and gritty perseverance. This waterway helped modernize life for generations in the mid-Atlantic by providing a path for essential goods like coal. This spring, a tour recreating the first mile returned after 11 years as part of a massive restoration.
Were you nervous when you took this first ride out?
Oh, absolutely. Terrifying. It's a lot of boat. I mean, it's 80 feet long and 13 feet wide, and that pass we're going to be going through is probably about 16 feet wide.
Powered by electric motors rather than the mules that traditionally guided a boat, it tops out at a brisk 2 miles per hour. But history takes its time.
5 houses down is where George Washington negotiated the purchase of the land for the city of the District of Columbia.
George Washington.
1791.
This was a stable back during the heyday of the canal.
Rex Carnegie heads education outreach for the Georgetown Heritage Foundation, which helped fund the boat's return.
Why was it so important to bring a canal boat back to the C&O Canal here?
It's a good way to connect folks to the history, whether that's recent history here in Georgetown or whether that's the 200-year history of the canal.
This is crazy.
The tours have been deemed an instant hit.
Nowadays, everything's so mechanical, everything's automated. So seeing people actually get out and use that muscle power, that is a connection to our ancestors here.
The lock system in and of itself is fascinating.
That's one of the reasons why we always gather a crowd. I mean, people are always excited to see this boat either go up or come down that line.
A vision from George Washington himself. Long before highways, the founding father imagined waterways, linking the East Coast to the Great Lakes and Ohio River. The C&O Canal covers nearly 185 miles of that. Mile Zero marks the start, planted in front of a complex with its own storied stamp on American history, the Water Gate. The canal then weaves along dramatic waterfalls and through mountain tunnels on its way to Cumberland, Maryland, its destination nestled in the Allegheny Mountains. The path opened for trade in 1850, running alongside the Potomac River.
Let's go.
Where we jumped on the water with Christiana Hansen from the C&O Canal National Historical Park.
What did this area look like 200 years ago?
So the C&O Canal, it was a highway. You would have had bumper to bumper boats the same way you would have had bumper to bumper cars today going into DC. It was a very busy place.
Hansen took us to park headquarters in Williamsport, Maryland, the canal's halfway point.
This is one of the original buildings along the C&O Canal.
It is, yes. It's about 200 years old. Canal boats would come up in the basin here and unload coal. We would then load the coal into the trains and they would head off to go and power the area.
When canal construction started, the project was an ambitious one and one of the country's first large-scale civil engineering projects. Despite the promise of its name, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal never made it to the Ohio River Valley, instead ending in Cumberland, Maryland after running out of funds. Operators still found plenty of coal there, and it became an early supply chain.
Heyday of the canal is the 1870s. This is right after we've had a civil war, so our country is rebuilding in really new and different ways. The canal is really busy, trade is expanding.
The peak of its heyday lasted about a decade during the 1870s, but the canal operated for nearly 100 years. Communities grew on and along the water as laborers, including families, worked the canal through all hours and seasons.
Some of my favorite pictures are kids with ropes around them that you go, why is that kid leashed? Yeah. Oh, it's so they don't fall in.
What a childhood.
Right? But you also would lead mules. So the big engines on the canal boat were mules and kids helped lead them.
While canal trade thrived, the railroad remained a fierce source of competition, eventually overtaking it. And after several catastrophic floods, the canal closed in 1924.
Is this in some ways a failure?
I think it's a grand experiment. So the canal, it's a struggle to keep it running, and it was even back in the day. You're working against nature, and that's what they were struggling with in the 1800s as well. Trains were getting better and better, faster and faster.
Today, it's one of the most visited national parks, surpassing even Yellowstone, as people continue to honor a tradition of exploring and dreaming of more.
This canal, the railroad, the planes that are flying overhead, all of these things connect us to that tradition. And the thing that we can hope for is that things will become easier and more efficient.
Which is also ironic considering how much we want to preserve these chapters of American history so we can learn from that history.
Absolutely. That is a story of the people, not just the dates and not just the famous folks, but real everyday people. How does that connect to where we are and where we're going?
And it really was revolutionary at the time because either you don't really have many options at that point in history. Either you put it on a cart or a horse and you can't really go very fast or very far, or you put it on a river, and navigating those wild rivers can be difficult. So this really helped open up a new way of life for so many people. More people.
All right, folks. Well, any thoughts about the C&O Canal?
Yes, I went on a school trip on the C&O Canal. I think I was in elementary school. And if I remember correctly, it looked like a guy was guiding a donkey, or it was either a donkey or a horse. And I don't remember, it took a long time, but I mean, I was a kid, so, but I remember we were in Georgetown where it started. got on the boat, well, whatever it's called, and we rode up the river. So that was
a horse or a donkey?
It was either one.
That's
And,
amazing.
and that was eons ago. So.
Yeah. That was the first tour they had, the horse and the donkey.
Oh, so you did that one too, Ann?
Mm-hmm.
The field trip advisor there?
No, well, the later on, but the trip that she's talking about when they had the horse and the donkey was when we were younger.
So
It
I
was
heard
either or.
I heard DC Public Schools took the kids there. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The DC Public Schools. Yes.
And the Catholic schools too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I can recall why DC Public Schools, because we had a field trip, and I was aiding the kids as a parent. And we just went down the Canal River. We seen Frederick Douglass home. You could see where they had people out there like they were servants. It was just so awesome, and it was very intriguing to me to learn the history of what was in that now. And I enjoyed going up and down that river as a child growing up and to my teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, folks, that is one of the biggest treasures of living in the district, is that Georgetown stretch, and that whole canal is just magical. It's almost like
hypnotic.
Yeah, unbelievable. Me and my brother took a 3-day bike trip. We biked the whole thing from Cumberland all the way to Georgetown, and I felt like I was back in the 1800s. I mean, my mind was messed up in a positive way.
Yeah, they said it's a 48-mile point.
185
miles.
It's 185 miles.
185
That's
miles.
a long way.
Yeah. And guess what? It's the Discovery Channel says it's the most haunted place in America because so many people died building it, and there were so many wars in the Civil War fought alongside of it. And so it's supposed to be the hauntedest place in America.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I never knew that.
I didn't know it was haunted.
I didn't either.
I
I'm glad I didn't know.
I don't think I would have got on that boat to go down that river.
If I'd have known it was haunted. But I've been on it a lot of times, so I just think there's nobody there that's gonna harm you.
Yeah. The National Park Service rents out the houses that the lock keepers used to live. So you can spend the night there if you want. I'll pass myself on that one.
Yeah, I would too.
Now that I know it's so haunted there.
I haven't done that, but I do know somebody that did do it, that came here, and they spent the night there. And
were they creeped out or what?
No, they said they had a nice time and did whatever. So
okay. All right, well, we better
I've
get
heard
moving
about
here.
it being haunted.
Oh my gosh, there's another one. Whoa, Alex is going to shoot me here. We're way over. Let's get this going.
Oh, there's Great Falls.
I love Great Falls.
Yeah,
What an
me
amazing
too.
place that
Great
is.
Falls is one of the most spectacular natural landmarks in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. A labyrinth of trails, paths, and roads lace the 800-acre park, providing hiking, biking, and horseback riding for visitors. The park includes significant archaeological sites spanning from approximately 6000 BC to the mid-20th century. Located along the banks of the Potomac River between the states of Virginia and Maryland. It's part of the National Park Service and George Washington Memorial Parkway. Great Falls on the Potomac River plunges 76 feet through a deep gorge. The Potomac River and the unique geological features have shaped the land at Great Falls for millennia. This is a dynamic environment, home to rare plant communities and a variety of wildlife. Great Falls Park is nationally significant as the location of George Washington's Potomac Navigation Company. In 1785, the company began operation to give small barges the opportunity to distribute manufactured goods upstream and raw materials downstream. During the construction of the canal, blasting powder was used to blast through rocks. It's one of the first known examples of blasting powder being used for engineering purposes. 2 wooden canal lock gates were preserved and can be viewed at the Park Visitor Center. The ruins of Matildaville, a small 18th century village associated with the commercial success of the canal, are also visible. Great Falls Park is now part of the National Park Service, celebrating their 100th anniversary this year. The Great Falls and Old Dominion Railroad, and then later its successor, the Washington and Old Dominion Railway, operated an amusement park at the falls between 1906 and 1932. The park had picnic grounds, a dance pavilion, and a carousel at the end of an electric trolley line that started in Washington, D.C.'s Georgetown. Picnic grounds and the visitor center still stand, but the carousel was destroyed by a flood caused by Hurricane Agnes. Today, the Great Falls of Potomac stands as a natural wonder, bringing awe and admiration of its power and beauty.
Wow, that was powerful. How about who's got memories of Great Falls Park? Great Falls of the Potomac. An incredible place. I bring visitors from all over the world. I take them there when they come here. I always take them to Great Falls Park. And they can't believe that this is in DC. They said, what? This is like the middle of the Colorado Rocky Mountains. They can't believe it. And I'd say my favorite place on the whole Eastern Seaboard, and this is the honest to God truth, my favorite place is anybody heard of Anglers Inn? It's along the Potomac. It's just, you get a kayak, and you can kayak upstream from Anglers Inn up to the base of Great Falls. You go through something called the Mather Gorge. It is like insanely beautiful. And it is my favorite place on the whole Eastern Seaboard. It is just unbelievable. I don't know if I have the energy to do it anymore, but you swear you're in the middle of the Colorado Rocky Mountains and you're in Washington, D.C. Who would know? Oh, one last bit of trivia. Do you know the U.S. kayaking team is based there? The United States kayaking team is based there. And they also kayak at the Dickerson incinerator. Anybody ever heard of the Dickerson incinerator?
Yeah.
Why do they kayak in the winter at the Dickerson incinerator? Anybody know?
I don't know.
Because they use the water of the Potomac to cool the incinerator. So the water coming out of the incinerator is always 90 degrees. 365 days a year, the water coming out of the incinerator is 90 degrees.
Wow.
So they built a kayaking course. They diverted the Potomac River and built a kayaking course, and the U.S. kayaking team trains there. They're based there. It's all right around Great Falls. So we live in a natural wonder place here in D.C. It's right under our noses, and a lot of folks had no idea it's even there.
I had no idea. I'm gonna check into that.
Some people haven't even been downtown. They don't even know what's going on downtown.
Yeah,
I found that out with teaching the kids.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what hidden treasures you know about downtown? Tell us about it.
Well, I used to be a tourmobile. Remember tourmobile?
I remember the duck.
Well, the tourmobile was a bus, and I used to be a tour guide and show you all the places around downtown, the monuments and the old Georgetown. They ride out into Georgetown and show you a lot of the whole houses that famous people used to live in, and Blair House, and all around town, showing you different places. And the museums we've got more museums now, but the Smithsonian has a lot of things that kids and adults both can learn from.
Well, and any hidden treasures you know about that maybe we all could discover?
At the old museum, the Red Brick Building.
Oh, the building museum by Judiciary Square.
Yes, you must see that.
Okay.
Must see that.
All right.
There's a lot of interesting stuff in this city. I mean, I could tell you a whole lot of stuff, but you don't have time. but there's a lot of places that kids can enjoy. My kids were first graders, and I took them to see a Supreme Court justice make a decision.
Oh, wow. All right, and well, thanks for sharing. Well, Alex, sorry, I'm way over time here.
Yep, it's okay. Thank you so much, you guys, for
Take us
coming
home,
on.
Alex. Take us home.
Yeah, thank you all so much for coming on our session today. Hope you learned a lot and really appreciate your participation. So for our trivia, I'll hear from 3 answers for each of our questions, and then we'll learn which one of you or all 3 of you got that correct. So I want everyone in Zoom to please raise their hand. You can, again, hit reactions at the bottom and then hit raise hand. Again, I take the first 3 answers for each question. If you enjoyed our session today, if you learned a new fact, if you're going to enjoy trivia today, please raise your hand in Zoom. Again, you can hit reactions at the bottom, and then you can tap on raise hand. So again, let's raise our hands so we can make sure we can utilize this feature for our trivia. And 2 of you will win a fridge magnet today, a WildTech fridge magnet. So again, everyone in Zoom, please raise their hand if you learned something new, if you're going to enjoy our trivia and enjoy the session today. Again, we have almost 30 folks on, so want to see a lot of participation, lots of hands, and again, you may win a prize just for answering a trivia question. So thank you so much, you guys. I see we have about 6 hands. Thank you so much. Your efforts are not unnoticed, and good luck to all for our trivia. Don't forget to lower your hand by hitting lower at the bottom, so that way we can make sure we hear from everyone. So make sure you click on or tap on lower hand or lower, so you can lower your hand. All right. So our first question, first 3 answers. Which national park is home to Skyline Drive, a 105-mile scenic route through the Blue Ridge Mountains? A, Assateague, B, Shenandoah, C, Harper's Ferry, D, Great Falls. Again, first 3 answers. Okay. Thank you. Brenda, what do you say for this one?
I think it's Shenandoah.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, Yvonne, what do you say?
Shenandoah.
Okay, thank you so much. And then Mr. Ronald, third one's the charm. What do you say? You got to make sure you hit unmute in the middle, Mr. Ronald.
Definitely Shenandoah.
Okay, thank you so much. Just making sure I have that. And let's see who is correct. The answer is Shenandoah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Skyline Drive runs through the entire length of Shenandoah Park in Virginia, offering stunning mountain views, wildlife sightings, and access to hiking trails, including a portion of the Appalachian Trail. So again, great job to Brenda, Yvonne, and Mr. Ronald. Thank you so much. Our next question, again, first 3 answers. Which national park is known for its role in the Civil War and John Brown's raid? Is it Catoctin, Prince William Forest, Harper's Ferry, or the C&O Canal? You can always take the first 3 hands. Thank you. Yvonne, what do you say for this one?
Harper's Ferry, Alex.
Okay, thank you. Really appreciate it. Second. Just making sure we have all of our correct answers. Thank you. All right, Mr. Thomas, you're next. What do you say?
Harper's Ferry.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then Brenda, you were the third one. Thank you so much.
I agree, Harper's Ferry.
Okay. And the answer is Harper's Ferry. Good job, everyone. So far, everyone has gotten all of our questions right. And Harper's Ferry, located at the confluence of the Potomac and Shenandoah Rivers, was the site of John Brown's 1859 raid on a federal armory, an event that escalated tensions leading to the Civil War. And this park preserves significant Civil War battle history, as we learned. So good job. Which national park is known for its dramatic waterfalls along the Potomac River? Is it Shenandoah, Great Falls, Chesapeake Bay, or Rock Creek? Again, first 3 hands. Okay. Mr. Ronald, what do you say for this one?
I say Great Falls for 500, Alex.
All right, thanks so much. Janelle and Bridget, what do you say?
I say Great Falls.
Okay, thank you. And then we got Yvonne. Again, you guys doing a great job. So fast.
Yes, Great Falls.
Okay. All right, and let's see what it is. Oops. Great Falls. Great job, you guys. Thank you so much. Great Falls, located in Virginia. This park is known for its powerful waterfalls and rapids on the Potomac River, making it a popular destination for hikers, kayakers, and photographers. So good job. You all are killing it today. Which national park in Maryland is home to Camp David, the presidential retreat? Is it Catoctin, Harpers Ferry, Antietam Battlefield, or Assateague Island?
Wow, we didn't cover this one.
No? Yeah, use your devices. Again, Camp David, National Park in Maryland. So again, I'll take the first three answers. Okay, I see our three hands. Brenda, what do you say?
I say Katak A.
Okay, yep, letter choice is fine. Thank you.
Get that word out.
Ms. Jeanette, what do you say?
Catoctin.
Okay. All right, Ms. Jeanette. And we got so many folks today, so we got to make sure we hear from everyone. And then we got Yvonne. What do you say?
I might be wrong, but I think it's Antietam.
Okay, so we'll see. We'll see. Again, trick question. Let's see how you guys did. And it's A, it's Catoctin. Again, thank you so much. Good job, you guys, for that. Is known for its dense forests and hiking trails. It also houses Camp David, the official retreat for U.S. presidents since Franklin D. Roosevelt's administration. So again, congrats to Brenda and Miss Jeanette. Good job. Thank you. And our last question for today, which national park is the largest protected natural area in the Washington, D.C. region? Is it Rock Creek, Shenandoah, Prince William Forest Park, or Great Falls? Oh, wow, I see our three hands already. Okay, Brenda, what do you say?
It's doing it in the dark in Rock Creek Park.
Okay.
I never heard that one
right.
before.
Rock Creek Park. Thank you. Janelle and Bridget, what do you say?
Rock Creek Park.
Okay. All right. And then we have Mr. Thomas. I see you. What do you say?
Like Brenda, Rock Creek Park at night.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate that. And thank you all for answering. Let's see what this one is. No, it's Prince William
Cheating. It's cheating.
Forest Park. Prince William
I never
Forest
even heard of that place.
Located in Virginia, Prince William Forest Park is the largest green space in the DC metro area, offering over 37 miles of hiking trails and serving as a preserved habitat for diverse wildlife.
I never even heard of that place.
Yep, Prince William Forest Park. So, yeah, that one was a good one. So again, thank you all so much for participating. I'm going to go ahead and put our correct answers in our wheel. And as mentioned, 2 of you all will win a WildTech fridge magnet today. So congratulations. I hope you guys learned a lot, took some notes. You guys can view this session on your YouTube channel if you want to review the information. Again, I really hope you enjoyed the slightly different setting for today. Lou, how did you what did you learn from the session today?
That I never heard of Prince William Forest Park. I'm gonna Google it.
Yep, and thank you so much. You did a great job. You've been to so many places, Lou, so it's really great to hear your experiences. And of course, our seniors too. You guys have been in so many places. So thank you so much.
And Anne was a tour guide. I want to hear more from Anne.
Yeah, so let's see with our wheel. And again, 2 of you will win a fridge magnet today. Let's see who those 2 individuals are. So again, congrats to Miss Brenda, Miss Yvonne, Mr. Ronald, Mr. Thomas, Bridget, Yvonne, and Miss Jeanette for correctly answering at least one question. And let's see who wins our 2 prizes today. First up, let's see who wins our first fridge magnet. And it looks to be very close. Miss Jeanette, thank you so much for participating in our session today. Thank you so much. And our second winner for today is Miss Brenda McManus. Again, thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations.
Yay, Brenda.
Thank you.
Miss Brenda, congratulations
Thank you. Thank you.
on a Wildtech fridge magnet today, both of you. So thank you so
Thank
much.
Lou, I never heard of that park either.
I'm gonna Google it right now. I never heard of
Yeah,
that.
I gotta look that up.
I think Alex is cheating. He's making names up now.
Oh, well, thank you all so much. I'll see y'all at 1:30 for Jordan and Module 3. Let's all say thank you so much to Lou for presenting our session today, and I hope you guys learned a lot. It was a pleasure.
All right, thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Lou.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Lou.
I can't walk
Thanks,
on.
Alex.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Miss
Alex.
everyone.
Hold on, Lou. I got
Lou.
something to tell you.
Great
Lou.
job. Thank you so much.
The-
Thank you so much.